God's willing, God's power.
Yes, yes, yes. But okay, so is it a good plan to be talking on the video right now?
Yes, it says go ahead. Let's go ahead. Or we can actually text. It's better because
Yeah,
the network would be breaking.
because the video uses a lot of data, right? So
Yes, exactly.
my idea had been that this first session we would do it all on chat, and then later we do a session on video, and we measure how much we use so that we know, because
Okay.
we need to plan for this.
Yes, we do. Okay,
So
that's a good idea
right
also.
right now let's just continue on the video for a little bit, and then we can always switch to chat when we want to.
Okay,
So
no problem.
you read the whole thing?
Yeah, I did. I did, and it's a very, very interesting book, I must say. Even if I've not started yet, I just started with the preface, as you said. And to my own understanding, I understand that the course consists of three books. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a book of text, and a workbook for students, and also a paid manual for teachers. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And it was also written by Helen. I really don't know how to pronounce her surname.
Oh, Schuckman.
Helen Kurt
Schuckman. Helen Schuckman.
Schuckman. Helen
Yeah.
Schuckman, yeah, yeah, and William Tedford,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And the whole process of writing this book took about 7 years. That's so
Yes.
interesting.
So that
Yeah,
is amazing, So
yeah,
that first time when Helen heard the voice and it said, "This is a Course in Miracles. Please take notes." Then
yeah.
she called up Bill Thetford and she said, "Bill, I'm going crazy now. I'm hearing a voice." And
An inner
so
voice, yeah,
Bill said, "So what does the voice say?" So then she told him, and he said, "Well, let's see what it says. Why don't you just write it down and come to the office an hour early, and then we'll see if it makes sense or not." And
yeah,
basically, what ended up happening was they did that for 7 years. They came an hour early to work, and they would transcribe whatever Helen received in dictation the previous night, and she
yeah,
wrote it in shorthand. She would read it back to Bill, and then he would type it out as they went.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Okay, so and the
yeah,
book is also answering three things, which I understand it like how it came, what it is, and what it says. Yeah,
right. And so what I was just writing on the chat was that Helen always said the first two sections, how it came and what it is, that was written by her, and then the last section, what it says, was again dictation by Jesus.
okay, okay, okay. This is so beautiful. I have this personal question. I read it and I said, oh, speaking about awakening, how does it actually feel to be awakening?
Um, you will get 1,000 answers. Uh,
I want to hear from
Gloria Wapnick had a very beautiful word for it. She said, she called it when you feel like you're being thunk rather than you're thinking. Okay. And
you.
that is similar to the process of the Course, where in order to hear the voice of Jesus, Helen would have to put her ego aside.
Yeah,
Okay. Because the ego is always the noisemaker that has an opinion about everything, and da 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 da, a million things. And we need to basically put that aside and let the voice of the Holy Spirit come through. And the best experience that I ever had was when in 2007 or something, I was speaking at a conference, and that's the picture that's on my Facebook site. I had just written my earlier book, Closing the Circle, and I was doing a presentation at a course convention, and I was presenting about the book and then answering audience questions. And I was so deeply into it at that point in time, I was answering questions as if I had been there personally with Jesus 2,000 years ago. That's what it felt like. And
Yeah.
then when it was ending, people applauded.
Wow.
And I wanted to look over my shoulder and see who they were applauding for, because I did not feel like I was saying that. It just came through me. And that is the difference. And Ken always also explains that the ego always deals with pressure, with urgency, with anger. It's important and right now, and he says, and the Holy Spirit is always patient and loving and gentle and whatever. So the work with the course is helping you to become more aware of the different choice.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And the other thing is, if I feel like I'm Roger, then I'm always defensive in some way, because uh, being an individual self goes with uncertainty about who I am, what I'm gonna do, and this and that, the other thing, and that always comes with defensiveness, and that's why in the course it says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. Because if I trust completely in the Holy Spirit, I have nothing to defend. Only when I'm trying to be my ego self do I have something to defend.
Mhm. Okay. Mm. So, when you forgive someone, does it mean you're ignoring the person's flaws totally? Or I don't understand. Like, cause does forgiveness mean ignoring the flaws of the person's behavior?
Okay, so the way the Course explains forgiveness
Yeah, it does.
is there are two ways of forgiveness. One is forgiveness to destroy. That is the ego's way of forgiveness. And that is the traditional way that people learn. And Christianity is very strong about that. For instance, um, you do something to me, and I
Mm.
then maybe get angry, and then I forgive you. But what I think is that you really did the thing, and that I am just the better person, and I'm going to forgive you. Now, this is really putting me up and putting you down.
Yeah.
Okay. And what true forgiveness is, which is forgiveness for salvation, is to recognize that the thing that I think you did is only an interpretation. And so in the course, he explains you can never be angry at a fact, but only at an interpretation of a fact. And one of my favorite examples is, I mean, I don't know by you, but here in New York, people live with public transport and with the trains and the buses and whatever. And what often happens in the train or in the bus, that there's a sudden braking or sudden acceleration, and one person falls into the other one. Okay, if you just were not holding yourself well enough or something, you may fall over, okay, and you may step on somebody's toes or whatever. And
Yeah.
people respond as if you're attacking them. But if you think about it even 10 seconds, then you see that, wait a minute, this was not malicious. I didn't intend to step on your toes. It was just that suddenly the bus started driving and I lost my balance for a second. And that was all it was. So, objectively, there was no attack on your person by me stepping on your toe.
Okay.
Okay, so now
Yeah.
what I am forgiving is not the thing you did or I did to you or whichever, but it is my interpretation. And
Yeah.
my interpretation as an ego is always to defend my ego identity,
Yeah.
whereas the Holy Spirit always lets it go, and the Holy Spirit is about what's best for everybody. So there is no sense left that you did something to me, because I realized that I forgave my thought that you did something to me. That's it.
Yeah.
You merely did the best you could at that time, and it may not have been very good, but whatever it was the best you could do at that time. And
Yeah.
once you see that the real problem is my interpretation, then it means I am letting go of my opinion, my judgment, and I'm deferring to the judgment of the Holy Spirit. What is
Yeah.
it for? And it's always for salvation, because forgiving one little thing at a time, and sometimes big things, means that I am letting go of my viewpoint and instead opening up to the viewpoint of the Holy Spirit, which is what Jesus is trying to teach us all the time and what the whole course is all about. But I'm also completely clear that even 2,000 years ago, that is what he was teaching. I mean, to me, the example is, the woman who touches his garment and she is healed, and then he turns around and he says to her, "Your faith healed you."
Yeah.
Aha! So Jesus did not heal her; her faith healed her.
Yeah.
That's the critical part. So the healing is when we switch from listening to the ego to listening to the Holy Spirit. That's the healing.
Yeah. So how do I hear the Holy Spirit clearly? How do I go about that?
Okay, so again, the course always makes the point that we basically need to learn to say no to the ego, because the Holy Spirit is the truth that always was and forever will be. But it's the ego that gets in the way. And so what, and somewhere in the text he says, The ego always speaks first and is always wrong. So if you become critical about yourself and you really see that the first reaction is always an ego reaction and it's always wrong, then you know, okay, all I need to do is not pay attention to that, and you can see what your ego is up to. Oh my God, I'm doing it again, and then you hang back and you listen to the Holy Spirit or Jesus. uh, and that's a whole different experience. In that moment of choice, that is what Jesus calls the miracle in the course. So for one moment you're completely caught up in your opinion about the situation, and the next moment you um, uh, let go of that completely, and the Holy Spirit can come through, and you can feel peaceful. Never mind what's going on. The house may be burning down, and whatever, it makes no difference. If you get your ego out of the way, you can ask the Holy Spirit and you will feel peaceful. That is, like I always say, to me, that's the image of the apostles and Jesus in the storm at sea. The apostles are running around and going crazy in the storm, and Jesus is sitting against the mast of the ship, and he is asleep. He's totally at peace. He's not worried about a thing. And that is the difference between how the ego reacts and how the Holy Spirit reacts. And that choice we have in every moment. Never mind what is happening. And you can find this out by simple little things. One my favorite simple examples is I'm in the house and I can't find my keys, right? I
Yeah.
I don't know where I left them. And if I go with my ego and I'm searching frantically everywhere, I can spend an hour and I'm going crazy and whatever. If instead of that, I just hang back, don't give in to the ego's panic, and in the course he says, if you have lost something, that means only you forgot where it is. And then when you spool back from the ego and the frantic searching and whatever, and instead ask quietly, then all of a sudden, an hour later, suddenly you will see, oh, I put the keys in the bathroom or wherever, You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. The pressure.
Right. And that's the difference. That's the difference right there between the ego and the Holy Spirit. The ego will drive you crazy, and the Holy Spirit will show you what you need to know.
Mm.
And the entire course is about teaching you the difference between those two and helping you to make the choice for the Holy Spirit more often. And
Yeah.
eventually, when you make the choice for the Holy Spirit permanently, then we are like Jesus.
Yeah. What does it mean to see Christ in others?
That is exactly it. So if Jesus knows he is the Son of God and he sees in other people nothing but the Son of God, then that is what makes him Jesus. Uh, in the clarification of terms, there is a section, "What is the Christ?" and that's where he explains that very precisely. So, a friend of mine in Holland who teaches the course, she did a class one time and she had a round table and I don't know what number of people, 10 people, whatever, and she made name signs for them all. And she had, uh, you know, her name is Annelies Christ, and then Roger Christ and Omo Christ. In other words, for everybody's last name, she substituted Christ,
Nice.
saying that we are all Christ because this Holy Spirit lives in all of us. Now, when we choose our ego, then we act out our ego and we do whatever we do. But when we choose the Holy Spirit, then we react very differently. And so, this is also what I just said about a reaction between people, that if you're in your ego, you become angry about all kinds of silly stuff. And if you're with the Holy Spirit, you will be peaceful regardless of what happens. And it's that extreme choice that you learn to make more and more often, because in the end, you realize that you're happier choosing the Holy Spirit than choosing the ego.
Yeah. Okay. So those are like the few questions I wanted to ask personally because I know the book is going to be very interesting. And I'm going to learn a lot.
Uh huh. So go right
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So it's changing the way I think enough to change my life circumstances. I don't know. It's changing the way I think enough to change.
That's the whole point. So that's why he calls it a course in mind training. We have always been taught to think like an ego, like I am important and this, that, and the other thing. And here we learn my only happiness is if I can simply be of service to the Holy Spirit and function that way. And the difference is so enormous that
Yeah.
once you experience it, you just make the choice more and more often. And that's basically why what happens in the whole um, uh, ego experience is that you see your reaction, but the minute you notice it, then you step back and you choose the peace of the Holy Spirit, and that becomes the practical exercise, and everything that happens in your life all day long is an opportunity to make that choice. And the
Mm,
more and more, and eventually, what the course calls this is you become the happy learner.
mm, okay. What does it mean by the world is a dream?
By the word
And we're
what?
actually, the world is a dream and we're actually living here.
Okay, the way I picture that, in those kind of things, I'm very graphical. Uh, you know the symbol for the sun, which is a circle with a dot in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, the dot is God or Jesus, and we are all the little dots on the circle. And so, my viewpoint of the world starts from a point on the circle. And then I see Omo, who is a point on the circle someplace else, and neither one of us sees reality.
Mhm.
Okay? We see a totally separate viewpoint of things, which is not reality. So, this type of seeing, which goes with thinking, is self centered and therefore not true. The only thing that's true is the view of the Holy Spirit. And again, only if you leave the ego aside and let the Holy Spirit speak through you, then you're getting somewhere, and you feel peace immediately. That
Yeah.
that that cannot be mistaken. And I've had a few experiences of that, which is like you can never lose it again. Even if in that moment you cannot feel that way, you know you've had the experience, and off you go. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So peace is a choice, and you just learn to make that choice more often as you go along.
So what is the goal of life?
What is the goal of life?
Yeah.
Waking up from the dream.
What dream?
The dream that I'm Roger and that you're Omo.
But we already know that.
No, the point is, you may know that theoretically at some point, but you don't know it really experientially. And by practicing forgiveness as the Course teaches it, gradually you're letting go of that identification as Roger or Omo. I mean, Ken Wapnick used to say, listen, when you look at the mirror in the morning and you think that what you're seeing is you, then there's still work to do, like forgiveness work. Okay? And on his deathbed, he was with his wife, Gloria, and he said to her, he said, I'm not dying, because he knew that what he is, his reality, is spirit. This body is just, it's a costume, what you wear on the stage. But our conversation is help is the spirit talking to itself, helping each other to wake up. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And that's also
Mhm.
why in the course he talks about the relationships between people, that relationships always start for egoic reasons, because somehow in your ego you think, he or she has something that I don't have, and you begin a relationship thinking that you're going to get whatever that is, and it doesn't work that way. But he then says that every relationship can become a holy relationship by because it is a classroom for forgiveness. And so every disappointment that happens in any relationship is an opportunity to forgive and to let go, and to put the Holy Spirit in charge of the relationship. And bingo, there you are. Then you are
Yeah.
with Jesus, and then that is truly what we're saying is, where two or three are together in my name, there I am in their midst. Immediately, once you let go of your personal goal, what you want to become of the situation, then the Holy Spirit can speak and he can take over, and you feel happier right that moment.
I didn't get that the network broke at some point. I didn't get what you said.
Sorry, and now I didn't get what you meant to say.
I said I didn't hear you at some point because the network froze.
Oh, I see. Okay, so um, uh, I forget now what I said. Oh, you're gone. You're gone. Okay. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
And you even have some light now. I can see half your face. Oh, there you go again. Ay, 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 ay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. There you are again.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
No, so is this a phone problem or is this a network problem?
My phone went off. It just froze and it went off. So I restarted it back. I'm so
No, no,
sorry
no.
for
So,
that.
so what you're saying to me is that you think this is your phone causing you hiccups. The network was okay.
No, the next I did data and I had little data left. So I know I have data. This is just the phone because when it's video call or calls, it just when it gets so long, my phone gets hot and it just goes off.
Okay, so for that reason, right now, chat is better until we can get a better phone.
Yes, for now, because my phone gets very hot when I'm using it, like video
Okay, so
call.
shall we switch to chat right now?
Okay, that'll be better.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. But it was nice to see you anyway.
Likewise, and I'm really very sorry.
No, 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 this is life. Okay, go ahead. We'll go to chat.
Thanks for understanding.
Okay.